Alright, Sev, I'm trying to make a simple one for you. Just a Leonardo Ninja Turtle with a blue paracord loop with green as the other color in the weave, and this will just be the snake knot, which I think is probably the easiest one. So, the green on this one, since the loop is going to be blue, that one will be longer. So I just cut like a short piece of the green paracord. Something like that long should be alright. Then as far as the blue, you want to make this one long enough to have a good sized loop, depending on how long you want the loop to be, as well as have some extra for the knot. It's been a while since I've done this, so hopefully I cut the right length, but once you do more and more of them, you'll figure out what the right lengths are. So the blue one, this is how you make the gutted loop with this so that it can fit through smaller knife holes and that kind of thing, because it does get kind of bulky if you don't gut it. So take one end and take the strings that are in there and you pull those out a pretty good amount, because what you want is to pull out enough to where on the other side it's gutted enough to have a pretty good sized loop. So you can see right now loop would be about that big. Depends on how big you're going to be making your loops for the lanyards, but I'll usually go about that big. And then what you can do is you can cut this. Let's cut it as close to the rope as possible. So that is non-gutted so that the knot still looks good. And then you flip it around. This is where the rope got pulled out of, so you can see it's gutted from here all the way up until about here. This is all gutted, so usually we'll fit a lot more knives that way. So then comes the part of attaching the two, which you do with a lighter. So you attach the gutted piece of it. So like I said, this one doesn't have any rope in it. The other piece is going to have rope on both ends. I usually try to even it up a little bit to where there's no rope sticking out. Try to cut it close to the end like that, to where the rope is pretty much flush with the outlying paracord part. And I just kind of hold them together like this. You get a lighter, light them up for a little bit until you see where it kind of melts the ends, which makes it kind of liquidy to where you can stick the two together. So just something like that. It takes a little bit of practice to figure out how much you need to melt it. Then hold it together like so, just kind of push them together. I get a lot of burn marks from doing this sometimes if it's too hot when I push it together, but just kind of hold it there tight. Make sure you got a good solid connection so it doesn't come apart. And then you can kind of pull it apart and see that it's not coming apart, so we're good there. So then as far as the snake knot goes, I don't know if I'm the best instructor on how to do the actual snake knot. There's all kinds of videos if you just Google or go to YouTube and do paracord snake knot, but you can kind of, yeah, I'm not going to be very good at explaining how to do this knot. Basically look up how to do this knot on YouTube. Watch a bunch of videos. Every time you do one, just watch the video and follow it step by step. That's what I had to do for a long time before I could do it without watching a video. But one of the things I'll tell you, some of the videos don't do two colors. Sometimes they just do one color. So it's easier if you can find one where they do one color. But one of the things I do is that mark where I lit the pieces and stuck them together. That is actually, I try to hide it under this first overlying knot. So the part where it's melted, where it kind of creates a little seam, is actually underneath there. Sometimes you can't get it under there perfectly. If you can't get it under perfectly, I think it's fine if it sticks up. You can kind of see it there sticking out of the top. That way once you put the head on, it's going to cover it anyway. But just kind of one of the things that you practice is trying to hide those seams on the snake knot if you can, just to make it look a little cleaner when you're done. But for my lanyards, I usually do this to where there's 6 knots, I believe, is the normal length that I do. You could of course do whatever you want to there. So So keep doing that a few times. You can do these pretty quickly. After you watch the videos for a while and get it down, you can knock it out with a lanyard in not very much time, especially the simple ones. Some of them I have to put glue on and stuff like that, like for including a sword, or you know, Freddy Krueger's claws, or Jason's butcher knife, or whatever the case may be. They're a little more involved because I actually use super glue to put some of those pieces on, but the ones where there's nothing else attached go pretty quick. So I usually do this right here. So you'll see if you count down there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's usually the length that I do. As you can see, I had a decent amount extra of paracord. And then I gotta go grab a bead, because I didn't grab one, to kind of show you how I put those on the bottom. Sometimes those can be tricky. So I'll be right back.